misconception when it comes to selling to women. A lot of times I get asked, why is it selling to men versus selling to women different? It's because when you look back, even during the Stone Age times, right? Men hunt, women gather. And so men would always be more triggered, or they would be more attracted to status. And then women would be more attracted to, or they would be more inclined towards stability. So when you understand that in itself, that kind of reflects in marketing as well. So with men, they buy more linearly. You can get away with quite a lot when you're selling to men because they're not as detailed as women. Women are more skeptical and they're more detail oriented. So they would catch little things that men will not catch. Women buy differently than men. They don't buy linearly, they buy more circularly. So they have like 8 different loops that they go through in order for them to buy. And so if you're selling to the same psychology as you are to one gender as you are to another, there is going to be a mismatch. A lot of times I see clients that come to me, it's working, and then they hit a wall and they can't scale. And then they realize it's because they've been selling to women like they have to men. So that's why it's important to sell to women in a way that is matching with how they are psychologically as well. Because the way men buy and the way women buy are entirely different. And so your messaging, your angling, your positioning is going to have to reflect that as well. So you can't just copy paste what you're doing with men to women. My name is Lina Fahizul. I am a direct response marketer and buyer psychologist expert. And I help male founders sell to women in a way that doesn't make them feel like shit. So how I started selling to women, or how I got into this particular lane, was about a decade ago. I had a client, a housewife, and she was a multimillionaire. She had diabetes and she wanted to sell a alternative to sugar to people in Western Australia. And so she became the number one supplier for Xylitol in Western Australia, but she had no idea how to market to women. And so I ended up working with her to help her market to women. And then I fell in love with that. And then I actually wanted to help more women market to other women, but that didn't happen as planned. I ended up working with a lot of male founders who were selling to women and helping them sell to women in a way that is fun for the women that they're selling to and for them as well. A lot of times they're using the same pain, agitation, stab in the knife and twist the knife. And that doesn't work necessarily with women. So that's where I come in and I tell them like, hey, there's a better way that you can sell to women. Whenever I talk to a brand owner and they say that women are more skeptical and so they need social proof, they take it and they run with it and they just put as much social proof as possible. And so the number one mistake that I see is just using random social proof on your landing page or even in your ads. But when you're selling to women, if you already have a sub avatar or a specific woman in mind that you're selling to, then wouldn't it make more sense for your social proof to reflect that? Because a lot of times I'll see brand owners use the same social proof across different funnels, when in reality, if you're talking to a woman who is suffering with dry skin, then your social proof will want to be from other women like her who are suffering from dry skin as well. So that subconsciously they can already see themselves. So that's one of the biggest mistakes I see a lot of DTC founders make when it comes to just assuming that the stuff that they do when it comes to men can be for women. Because for example, I tested this as well with brand selling to men, when we just put any type of social proof, as long as there's numbers there, they're okay with it. Because for them, they don't look at it too much as they do as a woman would look at social proof and see the person that is similar to them. And then the other thing is just making the mistake of selling to men like how they sell to women in a way where they just assume that women need one pass to make a purchase, meaning they see your ad, they see the proof, and then that's it, and then they'll buy. But that's actually not the case. Women need a couple passes before they even make a purchase. And so that's why it's important to, especially having retargeting, making sure your messaging is aligned there as well, and making sure that you understand that women don't just majority of the time do not buy on one platform, men do. For men, they see the proof, they see that it works, they'll buy. But for women, they look at your ad, they look at your landing page, they see the proof, but then they'll need a bit more time. They'll talk to their friends, they'll talk to their colleagues, they'll ask, oh, have you heard of this brand? What are they good? They'll look at your Amazon reviews, they look at Trustpilot. And so while all this is happening, this is why I always tell my clients to have retargeting ads and making sure that, again, messaging is congruent across all aspects so that you're reiterating the message to her. So if you come to the She's Not Buying workshop, here's what you're going to walk away with. We're going to cover the foundations and talk about why most copy targeting women fail before the headline even lands. We're going to talk about how women actually move from cold to sold. And we're going to cover the 8-stage female buying framework. And then we're also going to cover the 6 emotional blockers. So the gates that your copy has to open before any women buy your product. And then we'll cover also the 7 female proof copy types. So the actual copy that moves you right into the page. So we're going to take everything that we've learned theoretically and then apply them as well. So you know exactly what to do. And then the last thing we're going to do together is the tactical application. So we're going to take everything we've learned and apply it. And then we're going to go through it together to make sure that you know exactly how to execute everything that we've learned. So the workshop is going to be 3 days. And then the first 2 days, we're going to cover all theory. We're going to talk about the foundation, the frameworks, and all those things. And then the third day is when we'll all work together to apply all the theory that we've learned. And then we'll also have a Q&A so that anything that you're not sure of in the first 2 days, write them down, and then we can cover them in the Q&A and go through everything so that by the end of the workshop, you're equipped to go out and take the skills and knowledge that you've learned and apply them to your existing clients or use them to get new clients. Well, I'm actually very, very, very excited. That was like 3 varies in one sentence because I am actually very, very, very excited for the workshop because I think Nabil and I have had a lot of exchanges and across, especially in the Twitter realm, there's a lot of copywriters or e-com bros or copywriters selling to women. And so I'm very excited for this because I think it can benefit not just someone who's a copywriter. You can be a creative strategist, you can be CRO. You'll benefit from this because we're going to be talking about the difference in marketing to men and women, how you can apply the frameworks that I talk about constantly on my Twitter. And it'll actually equip you with a very high-level understanding of how to market to men versus how to market to women. A lot of times I get asked, oh, if I'm only learning how to market to women, am I going to isolate men? Not at all, because in the workshop, we're going to be talking about the differences so that even if you market to men, you can walk away with something from this. Because if you want to know how to market to women, you obviously need to know the differences in marketing to men and to women. And so if you're a copywriter, creative strategist, or CRO, whether you're marketing to men or women, you're going to benefit a lot from this because it's going to set you apart because you're going to know the right languages to use, what to look for, and all the other things in terms to equip you and to give you as a skill as a marketer. So I'm super excited. You're going to walk away with a lot of golden nuggets, as well with a super sneaky secret bonus that I'm giving away. And you'll only find out what that is if you're there in the workshop. So be there. The primary outcome or objective from attending this workshop is just leveling yourself up as a marketer because you're going to have another skill set that sets you apart from every other marketer because you're going to know exactly how to market to women, the psychology of marketing to women, and the difference in marketing to male versus female. And you're going to be able to adapt that across all your client work. And that's going to make you more valuable as a marketer because you're not just a generalist, but you're a specialist in a certain type of gender and marketing to them and talking to them. So that's going to set you apart and you're going to learn so much. And it's going to be something that you can transfer across email marketing, creative strategy, CRO, and just copywriting in general. The secondary or the ripple effect of what you learn is that you're going to start seeing it everywhere. you're going to start realizing all the things that you didn't realize before when you're, for example, doing an ad creative teardown, or when you're doing an audit for a client, be that a creative strategy audit, CRO audit, or just even a retention audit. And you can start to see things that you may have not seen before. And you can start to have a hang off. Is your client says something feels off, or they're not sure why something isn't working, they're able to do a quick audit and realize where the gaps are, and you're able to spot the gaps and plug in those leaks. So overall, I would say it's going to start to spill over into the other areas in your life. Because for me personally, it's something that I realize that I do even when I'm walking outside and I see a billboard. I start to analyze things, and you can just start seeing things, and all the puzzles will fit in together, and you see a pattern recognition. And that's something that I feel like especially in the age of AI, and that's what I think would set you as a marketer apart. So some of the results that I've gotten from my clients is mainly from just having them shift their perspective on how they look at things. So for example, I had a client who she felt something was off. And this didn't just happen this story is actually really interesting because a lot of times there's a misconception that if you are a woman, then you know how to talk to women. But that's actually not the case, because I had a client who was a woman and I did some consulting for her. And she came to me and she said something felt off within her funnel, but she just couldn't put her finger on it. And this is a very important story because I see a lot of brands repeat this in their funnels. And so when I did an audit, I realized that there was actually 3 different brand voices talking to her audience. And I see this a lot because in marketing, the departments work in silos. So you have like creative strategy, and then you have retention, and then you have CRO, but they should all work in tandem because the messaging should be congruent. So when I was doing an audit of her funnel, I noticed that the brand voice was 3 different brand voice on emails, in her ad, and then in her landing pages. And so just understanding that there was a discrepancy in all of that and then fixing it. So making sure it's congruent and that the audience feel like there's one person talking to them made a huge difference. And this is actually a very interesting story, and also something that I want to highlight to brands as well. Because when you have your teams work in silo, you're basically having 3 different brand voices if you don't realize, and if your team is not working together in tandem to make sure that there's congruency across all your funnels. Whenever people ask me, well, who are you and why I should listen to you, is go to my Twitter, look at all the stuff that I talk about, go on my website, look at all the results that I've gotten from my client. You can see how often I talk about these things. You can see how passionate I am about these things. And personally, if that's not enough to convince you and you're asking yourself why you should listen to me, then maybe you shouldn't. Maybe do something else. Go watch Netflix. Be miserable. Deliver shit results for your clients. But if you actually want to get results for your clients, if you actually want to be a better marketer, learn something, switch off Netflix, actually have something beneficial, then come to the workshop and watch what I have to say, and then listen, apply, and then get results for your clients. That's it. How do you know the stuff that I'm teaching works? Again, go and look at the case studies that I have on my Twitter profile, on my website, where I've actually had video testimonies of one of the clients who's in a telehealth niche that I helped scale to 20 million in 6 months, right? I talk openly about all the wins that I've had. I've talked openly about all the losses that I've had. I'm very candid. I don't like to just talk about all the wins that I've done, all the results that I've generated. I love to talk about what I've learned as well, because I don't see losses as losses. I see them as learning, and then I'll just take them and apply it and get better results for my clients. So you can see all the results that I've generated for my clients on my Twitter, on my website. I talk about it all the time. I love to talk about the results that I've gotten for my clients. The only thing is that there are some clients that obviously you sign an NDA, so you can't talk about this particular client. The workshop is going to be live, and there will also be a recording. But I love feeding off people's energy, and I love meeting new people. So come to the workshop live so that we can obviously have conversations, and then you can ask the questions that you want to ask on the workshop. Because obviously, if there's going to be a recording, you're not going to be able to ask the questions that you want to ask. So I highly recommend coming live to the workshop. It'll be a lot of fun. You can ask me questions. We can chat about all things marketing. And yeah, it'll be fun to be there. So if you want to attend She's Not Buying, my workshop that I'm only going to be hosting exclusively inside the Copywriting Launchpad, then join that school community, join Nabil's school community. All you have to do is upgrade to the premium membership, and then you'll have access to the workshop. So again, join Nabil's school community, upgrade to the premium membership, and then you'll be able to join the 3-day workshop where you can ask me questions. We'll go through everything that I just spoke about, and it'll be really fun. So if you guys have any questions after the workshop, if you're not able to make the workshop live, I will be in the school community for the next 24 to 48 hours. So if you have any questions, you can drop it then. But if you can make it to the live workshop, obviously make it to the live workshop, then you can ask me a question. If you can't make it to the live workshop, you have 24 to 48 hours to ask questions in the school community, and I will answer them. Obviously, I can't be there for the rest of my life to answer all the questions that you had, although I would love to, but you have 24 to 48 hours. If you watch the recording a year from now, and then you want to reach out to me on Twitter to ask questions, just make it super specific and make sure it's one question, because I'm not going to be giving you a long drawn out consultation unless you want to pay me for my time. Then you can ask me all the questions that you want to ask.